So make it easy.
All right. So I am here with my friend, my really good friend, my long dear friend, Mark Babbitt. Thank you, Mark, for being here. It's great to see you.
Of course. Nice to see you.
Yeah, so we're talking today about sort of managing your time on social media and figuring out what are the latest and greatest tools and where should you be investing your time. And this all started because I had shared an article on Twitter about being active now on Snapchat, right? And it's just one more tool to use to get your brand out there, to build a community, to meet new people. And somebody who I've known for a while and I think very highly of, Scott Birkin, said, okay, but now how can anyone authentically invest in all of these mediums at the same time? There are a surplus of opportunities. And this is sort of driving our whole conversation today, that there is something new every day, every time you turn around a corner. And so I want to sort of get started by saying, asking you, how many social networks are you on and how do you manage that?
Well, not counting collaboration tools, not counting content distribution tools, I'm on 5. And they're the big 3: Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. I also have an account on Pinterest and an account on Instagram. I'm active on 3. I found, for me personally, Pinterest, although I find some amazing infographics and infographic resumes on there, that it didn't help me, my brand, my company's brands very much. And same with Instagram. So now I'm being pushed constantly to be more active on both, but honestly, I feel like I kind of got my hands full on the big 3.
Yeah, I find the big 3 are challenging too. And so when you are you have a strategy, a logic, a pattern in how you decide what to share. And so let's start by, what's your purpose? Like what's your mission on social? Because your mission is different than necessarily a job seeker. So.
Yeah. So my mission as a business owner is to be a champion of my brand.
And tell me what those brands are. Just let's reiterate what those brands are.
So we have U-Turn, which is our site for college students, recent graduates, and young professionals to help them enter the workforce gracefully. We have Switch and Shift, which is a leadership site and a community that focuses on workplace issues. So the other side of the workforce equation. And then we're launching a new site called Forward Heroes. What U-Turn is for college students, Forward Heroes will be for our military veterans to help them transition into a successful civilian career.
Great. So you've got 3 different initiatives, and they all sort of need their own attention. So, people who are complaining just about managing their own brand, they have nothing to complain about, because here you are managing your own brand plus these 3.
Well, yeah. Well, now I have a little help too. So, between content managers and social media managers, I do have some help. But I still drive my own Twitter account. LinkedIn, Facebook. That's all me. I decided early on that I wasn't going to be one of those automatons with the DMs and the auto repeats and all that. Yes, of course we schedule tweets to promote posts and stuff, but if somebody talks to me, I talk back, and I just made the decision that's what I was going to do. So it's probably also why I limit my participation to those big 3, because there's only so many conversations we can have and give it our full attention, to Scott's point, right? I mean, we're all stretched very thin. We still have businesses to run, or a job to find, or a career to build. There's only so much time to be spending on social media.
So how much time do you think you spend a day on social?
Well, I have a very strict routine. My daily routine, Monday through Friday, follows the same pattern. I'm definitely a morning person. I'm on the computer somewhere between 4:30 and 5 every morning. I handle all email, social media, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Triber, things like that. I handle all of that before 6 a.m. and then I go to work. And along the way, I spend time with kids and family and stuff. But and then I stay off of it until about noon, unless a big red flag comes up or an opportunity, shows itself. I stay off until about noon. I go through the same process again, and then I do the exact same thing before dinner. And so I block out 30 to 45 minutes, a little longer in the morning, because I can't stand it. Boy, if something's in my inbox, or if there's an unanswered tweet, I cannot function. I just can't do that. I'm kind of OCD about that. So it's a trait of our brands to respond quickly, and so I need to lead by example on that. So a little bit more time in the morning, but I probably spend Total hour and 45 minutes a day on email, social media, communications in general.
Yeah, so you're not like killing yourself doing it.
No. No, you throw in the occasional Twitter chat, as you know, which are important to our personal brands.
Love them.
And our company brands. It obviously that, that's an hour there too. So, but I don't count those in my daily routine because those are media opportunities. So I see those as something different than just banging away on a keyboard on social media.
Right. So how do you decide which new tool you might embrace or not embrace? Like why are you not a fan of Instagram for example?
Well, I think first of all, I love Instagram for my family and stuff.
Yeah.
I just haven't found a great application for my personal brand or the business yet. I'm an introvert. I don't post a whole lot of pictures, so I just haven't really adapted to that yet. Pinterest I love because I'm a visual guy, so I love the infographics and like I said, the resumes and things like that. I love that stuff, so I get sucked into there once in a while.
Yeah.
But I go to social media to meet new people and to learn, and that's my goal. And I don't find I learn anything on Instagram. And
do you find there's a big crossover between who you're friends with on Facebook and the people that you're following or friend, whatever the term is, on Instagram?
Oh, that's a great question. Yes, I guess I do. I mean, there are certainly people on Facebook that I don't follow on Twitter. There are people on LinkedIn that I don't follow on Twitter. Obviously, I have 3,000 connections on LinkedIn and almost 50,000 on Twitter, right? So there's certainly some overlap. But here's what I find: the people that I value as influencers that I have worked hard to develop mutually beneficial relationships with, they're on all three platforms, and we can communicate equally well on any of the three.
Yeah, and you had that great conversation with David about influencers and managing sort of that relationship. That was really great on how to manage that.
Thank you.
Great conversation. I don't think it's available anymore, but it was good when I saw it. So, the other thing that you're doing, which is more, it's for your own personal business about leadership, your cocktail napkin wisdom. Love that.
That's what we call it. Let's face it, Hannah, there's so much crap out there. There's so much noise. And especially now with Facebook Live and all the video platforms, I've just about had enough. I don't last longer than 30, 45 seconds on those Facebook Live posts before, maybe it's just because I'm old now, but I just don't get it. I don't want to get it. And I don't appreciate the self-promotional nature of it. And so in response to that, I thought, why are some of the people that are really considered the influencers always on Facebook Live? What's the necessity of that? How does it help their brand? How does it help their companies? And from what I can tell, it doesn't. So I went the other way. I went low tech, and I was actually on a United flight from Denver to Seattle to go see a consulting client, and I wrote that on a United, the little cocktail napkin they give you. And I went, wait a minute, this is it. This is, this is what I have available to me. Everybody's written a note on a napkin at some point in their lives, and so I started doing a napkin karma message every day. And my theory is if it doesn't fit on a napkin, it's too damn long. And it holds people's attention. And it seems to have caught on a little bit. It's
really
fun.
Clever. So for those of you that don't follow Mark, don't know what we're talking about, how do you do it every day?
Every weekday. Every weekday.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he puts some really profound and some they're cleverly worded leadership
Sometimes
tips.
a little snarky. Yep.
Yes. I think I know who's influencing you on a lot of those. We won't talk about that.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, but they're just little quips of wisdom that make you think a little bit, and just for leaders or for people who want to be leaders of themselves. It's just great wisdom. So anyone can follow you on Facebook, right? If they want to follow you.
Yep.
Could you
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
so
And
don't
I
miss
also put
that.
them on Twitter. So I was compelled to put them on Twitter too. And here's what's funny is the younger people on my team, they're saying, "Are you kidding? This is the perfect thing for Instagram and Pinterest. What's wrong with you?"
I know.
And
I was going to tell you the same thing. I think this should be on Instagram.
yeah, so I'm hearing that a lot now. So
There you go. One reason to use
there
Instagram.
you go. Well, if Hannah says it, I have to do it.
So, Mark, are there too many opportunities online? Are we like overwhelmed?
I am. I am. I have to filter. Social media has done so much for so many of us. We have to give credit where it's due, but let's face it, there's just, like I said, there's so much noise out there. There's so many opportunities out there that it's hard to figure out where your biggest bang for the buck is. And it's hard not to fall into that time suck pattern. I mean, I have seen people that I respect and admire a lot that will sit down and be on Facebook for 3 hours straight. And I don't have time for that between, 3 organizations and 5 kids and 3.5 grandkids and 2 dogs and 5 acres. And it's like, no, I'm not doing that. Right. So,
right. You've got a life.
So there has to be limits. And I think it's easier for me because I always saw social media, still do today, as a digital handshake. It's not the relationship. It's how we form relationships. It's how we begin relationships. So that's why I love these conversations with you and picking up the phone and actually having real conversations. So I never got sucked into I'm going to have a 3-hour conversation on a Facebook group or a LinkedIn group. It's not how I prefer to communicate. I'd like it to be a one-on-one, meaningful, mutually beneficial conversation.
Yeah. So let's say that you are a new college graduate or a vet, and we'll use new college graduate because I think the rules are different, a little bit different for the vet. What would you recommend to those new college graduates who are really, they're probably on Instagram, right? Fair to say they're on Instagram.
Yep.
What can they do on Instagram? Any thoughts on what they can do on Instagram to sort of better showcase their professional side?
Absolutely. The one thing that Instagram and Pinterest and Snapchat certainly do for us is they help us provide social proof of what we're doing to better ourselves, to move our careers along. A picture of you at a meetup with an influencer, a picture of you pointing up, you visit IBM Design Center and you point up to the sign, right? And that's social proof that you're out there busting your butt. And that's what those platforms are great for.
Yeah, really good.
And I also, the meaningful memes and things like that, where you're quoting, like, say you're a marketing major in college and you post a meme from Seth Godin. Well, when an employer or an influencer or somebody you just invited to an information interview checks you out online, and they do check you out online, they're going to see, oh yeah, Emily's actually quite serious about this. She went to this marketing conference. She went to social media world. She's got this quote from Seth Godin. She's really into this. Yes, I will invest some time in her, right? So all of those platforms, and Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook too, they're all great for providing social proof that we really do care about the work we're about to enter.
I think people have a really hard time deciding what they're going to promote for themselves. And we're humble, I get that. And not all of us are comfortable in front of the camera, but I think that you provided several really good ideas on how anybody really can just provide some of that social proof.
Well, if you just took the time 3-4 times a week to champion a blog post that meant something to you, to be an ambassador for a blogger or a site that you're interested in maybe working for someday. I mean, if you want to go to work for Facebook, then why wouldn't you put 2 posts a week about a new feature on Facebook or a new way to use Facebook to extend your personal brand, right? Show proof that you're really into this, and that is by far the best way to use social media right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, LinkedIn obviously is a key platform. And again, it's more than just people throwing up their resume on there. It is an engagement platform. There's an opportunity in groups and other ways to interact with people and to learn. So, we don't want to overlook that as obviously one of the places that they have to be too.
Yeah, LinkedIn's still the big boy. And it's so funny. We've been doing this for 6 years at U-Turn, and I still, once a week, I get the question, but I'm a student, should I be on LinkedIn? And if you're over 18 and you're breathing, you should be on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
That's the rule. And it doesn't matter if you're still a student. You've probably held a part-time job. You've probably shown some leadership abilities in a club or intramural sports or something. Mm-hmm. You are maybe at the beginning of it, but you are building your personal brand. And let's face it, if you are not on LinkedIn, to anybody that might hire you as an intern or an entry-level professional, you're not on LinkedIn, you don't exist.
Absolutely. Or there's something wrong with you that you're not on LinkedIn.
Right. Well, that's what people think, right? It's right. Like, wait a minute. Either they don't care about their career or they're hiding something.
Right.
Neither one of those things gets you hired,
no.
right? So right. You have to be on LinkedIn. But I love the point you made. You can't just post your resume and walk away. LinkedIn is an engagement tool. And it is by far the best place to find mentors, influencers, people who you can invite to coffee. The advanced search you can find, you live in even a decently sized city, you can find hundreds of people to meet and to engage with. And so LinkedIn is still a top dog for me.
Absolutely. One of the things that I think so few people know about is the ability to sort and filter alumni from your schools.
Oh, the alumni tool, oh my God.
Isn't that the greatest thing ever?
It's so powerful. I still find people, I'm 56 years old, I still find people that way.
Yeah.
It is, the alumni tool is probably the most underrated, most poorly used tool on LinkedIn. Everybody does the who's looking at your profile and all those things, but the alumni tool is just an amazing way to meet people who can make a real difference in your life.
And those people in general, I mean, it's a gross generalization, but you share that common college experience, which is a real bond that for a lot of people. So it really is an easy way to reach out to somebody and ask for help.
That's it exactly. I can't think of a single time where somebody said, hey, I see you went to Alcorn State too. I just moved into the area, or I'm just about to graduate. I would love to talk about how Alcorn State helped you in your career. Could I buy you a cup of coffee sometime? I've never heard of anybody saying no to that question.
No, they wouldn't. Who would?
No, it's that sense of community. It's that sense of loyalty. It's that sense of giving back. And it's just a tremendous tool and a tremendous resource for young professionals.
One of the things, too, I think that a lot of people get caught up with, I'm an introvert, in other words, and you are too, which is, hey, high five, right? I don't like talking to people I don't know. Don't make me go to networking events. Don't make me do this. But what I have found in social, and I wonder if you found this too, is that because I've had some interaction with somebody online first, and I'm able to sort of scope them out, check out their LinkedIn profile, whatever they're sharing, I almost feel like I know them a little bit before I actually have to have that face-to-face conversation or go meet them. So it makes it a little more comfortable, safer for me. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm I guess what they call a situational introvert. So when I go to speak or I'm on the road in front of a client, I can do whatever I have to do to earn my living basically and to help the brand. But I would much rather be staring out this window, looking at the dogs playing with the kids, and just rejuvenating that way. And that's where I find my energy is in quiet times, not crazy times. And so social media to me is the perfect entry, because if it was up to me and I had the first 20 years of my career had no social media, I was really good at being an introvert, which means I didn't meet very many people. I knew the people I worked with. I knew the people that I wanted to maybe someday work for. And when I went to work for myself, I knew that my clients, and that was fine with me. Now, social media has opened up so many doors and allowed me to meet so many great people, including you, that I would have never known otherwise, ever. And so that's the best part about social media is the relationships even us devout introverts can make one keystroke at a time. And sometimes even hiding behind our keyboards for a while, right? Until we get a little more comfortable. It's without a doubt the best part about social media.
Lurking's okay for a while, right? It's okay to lurk
Lurking
for a little
is
while.
okay. You know,
Because you're learning through lurking.
yeah, don't be a lurker. No, be a lurker. Now, I'm all for obliterating comfort zones. Don't get me wrong, but nobody ever bursts through a comfort zone because somebody told them they had to, right? We have to run it at our own pace. So lurking, I lurked for when we first started U-Turn. I didn't even have a Facebook account when we started U-Turn. They made me get on social media, and I lurked for probably 3 months, from May to August, until I finally went, okay, I think I'm ready. And I joined Job Hunt Chat.
Yeah, I remember that. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And I met 200 people I would have, again, never met otherwise. And I was immediately addicted. I think it's one of the, I mean, you think about how much careers, professional development has changed over the last 50 years, maybe longer, maybe since World War II. Social media is the number one, the biggest change, positive change that's happened, for going on 100 years.
It's really leveled the playing field, right? It's empowered, I think, a lot of the job seekers, people who look for work. Before, it was all behind the mirror, behind the curtain. You couldn't see anything, right? Now it's a little bit more transparent, makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's easier, again, especially if you're using social proof as a tool of your capabilities and your passion and your work ethic. Maybe you are that person that graduated from Alcorn State. You can now compete with the Stanfords and the Harvards and it doesn't matter if you're a first gen student or you come from blue blood. If you're the right person, you're the right person. And employers are learning now, hiring the right person is far more important than hiring somebody from a certain school.
Absolutely. There's a lot of schools that are saying that. They're tired of just recruiting from the same schools. They want to diversify. And the challenge for the recruiters that are doing the college recruiting is, okay, so where do I find them, right? How do I pare through all of these different candidates now? But they are more interested in diversifying where they're pulling their people from. We were talking before we were on the camera, and you were saying that, you know what, sometimes we just need to unplug. Yeah, and I think there's definitely a reason for this.
Well, there is. Social media fatigue is very real. It's binge watching TV is great until you get tired of watching TV for hours at a time. Well, social media is the same thing, right? There is a time and a place for everything, as the cliche goes, and especially when you're running a business, that's certainly true. But even from a personal point of view, I've had several periods of time where I just said, you know what, I've had enough for a while. And that FOMO thing, that fear of missing out because you're not there for a Twitter chat or you're not posting on Facebook this week or whatever, there's so much pressure there. And I think we're all feeling that. But I got to tell you, it's okay to walk away. It's okay to say that enough is enough, right? Even for job seekers. And I don't mean just on social media. I think it's even okay for job seekers to say, you know what, screw it, I'm taking a week off. I'm done here, and I need to rejuvenate. I need to refresh. I need to find my center again, and go unplug for a while. And as you and I were talking about before we started recording, that's become okay. At first, say 2012, 2013, just 2 or 3 years into the social age, it wasn't really okay, right? You had to be everywhere all the time. And now there's so many of us that have fallen into this fatigue trap that when we do walk away, when we decide not to be omnipresent, and when we come back, then our friends are still there. Yeah. Our business relationships are still there.
And they welcome us back. Oh boy, we missed you.
Yeah. Yeah, so we don't. That's what we're learning now that we're in kind of like phase 2 of social media. We're learning that kind of like a marriage, right? A marriage is great unless you're around each other 24/7, 7 days a week, and then you kind of get a little tired of each other. That's how social media is, right? It helps to have a little time away. It helps to be apart for a while, and then again you go and you realize why you were there in the first place, and it doesn't feel like a chore anymore, and you see all these virtual smiles coming through the Twitter stream and Facebook, and you jump on a Zoom call or a Skype call, and it feels good again. It doesn't feel forced anymore. So those periods of time that I've walked away have been hugely beneficial.
And honestly, I believe even in the workplace, we need that 1 week a year where we unplug. I mean, if we can take the 1 week, but whatever that amount of time is,
Yeah.
unplugging critical to the mental health of our
Well,
person.
well, and I got to tell you, there's a whole bunch of studies out now, and we're actually doing some research on this ourselves that are showing us that these open work environments, the constantly being plugged in. You know, the first thing we do in the morning, still in bed, we haven't used the restroom yet, is check our phones.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing we do after we use the restroom and go to bed is check our phones, right? There's this constant input, and the studies are showing this is not healthy, right? The constant input, the multitasking, the always having to be on, especially for us introverts, always having to be aware, always having to be mindful, trying to handle 18 things at once. It's literally killing us. And you know, just sitting alone while we're doing all that, sitting is killing us. And so we're learning that it's okay to have that quiet time. And I know in my life now, I try to set up every Wednesday, and I work a lot. I work too much with these two communities, but every Wednesday I try to set up where I have 0 meetings. I don't have to get dressed if I don't want to, because I get to work from home.
Yeah.
I don't have to be in front of the camera. I don't have to talk to anybody. It's just me focusing on my work. And I think people are starting to realize that's okay too. That maybe we don't need to take long periods of time away, but man, it sure helps just to sequester ourselves a little bit and unplug for 12, 14 hours at a time and just be us.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to give you a chance. What are you promoting? What's going on right now that we should know about, Mark?
Well, I'll tell you something I'm proud of. You know me, I don't like to self-promote very much. So, but I just agreed to do my second book with Chris Edmonds.
Awesome.
So, yeah. So we've begun outlining the chapter. So my second book will be out soon. And Chris is such an amazing guy and such a leader in the culture and leadership space that I learn something from him every day. So it's going to be quite an adventure.
So behind you, we see A World Gone Social, which is your first book, which is a great book, obviously. So really exciting news about your second book. We'll be looking for that.
Yeah, no, the first book was a struggle. So this book, I actually hope I get to enjoy the process. So
yeah, good for you. Really exciting. Yeah. So everybody, please follow Mark Babbitt on Twitter, Mark S. Babbitt.
that's right.
And, follow him on Facebook until he figures out how to use Instagram. And then you can follow him there too.
Ouch.
Yeah, I'm kidding. It was so nice of you to have this conversation. I could honestly talk with you all day. It's been really fun. I think that there's some great nuggets here that people can walk away and feel good about, and optimistic about how they can do this.
Well, I hope so. And thank you for the opportunity. It's always great to talk to you.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
All right. No. How about